Now, we are just getting in this footage. This is from Istanbul in Turkiye, where we learned a short while ago that gunfire had been heard outside or near a building that houses, amongst other things, the Israeli consulate in Istanbul. We are joined by our Turkiye correspondent, Sinem Koseoglu. Sinem, what do you know at this point? What are you learning?
So far, we have been hearing statements by the Istanbul Police Department in which they said they have neutralized, which means killed 3 people. Also, the Israeli embassy officials informed the journalists here in Turkey that there are no Israeli diplomats residing neither in Istanbul General Consulate building nor in the Israeli embassy in the Turkish capital, Ankara. This is what we know so far, that 3 people tried to open a gunfire and they have been eliminated by the Turkish police. But also I spoke to some eyewitnesses in the area who were just out for smoking in front of that tall building. As you have also mentioned, the area where Israeli Istanbul Consulate is located, there are 2 skyscrapers, high buildings, which are known to be the first high buildings in Istanbul, residing so many companies. There are thousands of people working in these outlets, and Israeli consulate is just on the 7th floor of one of those high buildings. And there's a security in front of the building serving for everyone. The eyewitness that I spoke to was telling me that he was just smoking with his colleague, and 3 people came with a car, tried to open a gunfire, and then the security fired them back. And according to the eyewitness that I spoke to, the security told him that one of the attackers just said Allahu Akbar and opened the gunfire. Of course, there will be an investigation opened into this. We will be hearing more from the officials on the Turkish side along with the Israeli side. But these are the initial information that we know so far. But I have to underline that the area is a very busy business district, residing so many companies and thousands of employees. And as for the Israeli officials, there are no Israeli diplomats serving in the consulate building in Istanbul, and no Israeli diplomats on the Israeli embassy in the Turkish capital, Ankara, which means the employees who are inside those diplomatic missions are mostly the locals who are working for the consulate or embassy. Back to you.
Sinem, thank you very much for that. We are trying to establish the basic facts about this story. So I'm just going to go through what you've been telling us. You tell me if I'm missing anything or if there's anything you can add to this at this point. So you've confirmed, it's 1 p.m., by the way, in Istanbul, right? So 1 p.m. local time in Turkey. And just in the last few moments, so in the last hour or so, very recently, 3 people opened fire near a building. You've told us this is a very busy commercial district, many businesses across multiple buildings in that area. But 3 people opened fire outside a building that houses the Israeli consulate, and the police and security forces then fired back. Do we know at this point, and I'm not sure if you said this, do we know at this point if the assailants were neutralized?
The scene is exactly as you have mentioned. The area, the flow of the incident is exactly as you have mentioned, and it's been less than an hour that this attack happened. And as per the Istanbul Police Department, 3 attackers were neutralized. They use the term neutralized, which means they were killed by the security or police personnel during the attack. And one of the eyewitnesses that I spoke to said, I saw 3 of them as they opened fire towards the security. They fired back, and I witnessed them fall on the floor, fall on the ground.
Do you know if people were injured other than the assailants?
There is no confirmation, but there is a line that says one police officer was injured, We need to confirm that. I have no information. If it is true, I have no information how hard he has been injured. But probably we will be hearing about this very soon as well. But we heard nothing about any civilians being injured so far. But of course, things are very fresh. The incident happened just less than an hour ago. And I'm sure the security officials are also trying to give information as soon as possible. But, they try to select the true information. But I must inform that the area has been sealed by the police. There is no entry or exit right now. We are also trying to get to the scene for our reporting to complete our live from the area. But there's a tight security measure around the building where the attack happened.
Yes, Sinem, I understand that you are, even as you're reporting and even as you're live on the phone with us, you're also trying to make your way to the scene of that attack. Can I confirm something with you, that the attack has now ended? We're seeing live footage of a heavy security presence. There's no indication that there's a manhunt underway or that there's an active shooter situation, but I want to confirm with you.
As per the eyewitness and as per the police statement so far, there were 3 attackers who approached in a car, and they were eliminated by the police. But if there is another shooter hiding in a hidden corner or somewhere at the rooftop or whatever, of course we cannot know it for now through the eyewitnesses or the official statements so far that are giving us the scene from the street level. But probably since the area is sealed, the security is trying to confirm whether there is any sleeping agent or any hidden attacker across the area. And we have no information about the ties, what kind of ties these attackers have to which organization, whether this is a terrorist organization or is it an individual attack, or whether these people are marginalized. We don't have any information, any details about the motive, the modus operandi of the attack so far.
Yeah, no indication on motives, no claim of responsibility so far, no indication. It's way too early for that to know what this might be tied to. The Turkish Justice Minister, Sinem, is saying that Turkey will carry out diligent investigations. That's the word he's using, a diligent investigation into this shooting incident. Sinem, can you situate us with the geography here? What part of Istanbul is this in?
The area is called the Levent neighborhood in Şişli district, one of the busiest business centers of Istanbul. The area is full of high buildings like the one that the Israeli consulate, general consulate is located. And as I have mentioned earlier, thousands of people are working around these areas and these buildings. There are so many national and international companies located there. There are international news agencies in those areas. Also, this is like a transit location. You have the subway, you have the buses, you have the taxi. In terms of traffic, this is one of the busiest areas, especially during the rush hours. And taking a look at the timing of the attack, it was exactly the noontime. By the way, there are the headquarters of some of the biggest Turkish national banks over there. So this is not only a business area, this is also a finance area. And just when you move aside from these areas, you have the residential area. There are schools around those places. And it's nearly on the side of one of the major roads, or it's not a highway, but it's at the very close to the junction of a major highway. So the area is critical.
Okay, you're explaining how busy the area is, Sinem. for businesses, both local and international, for media outlets, news agencies, financial as well, with many banks in that area. And in those buildings was also the Israeli consulate. Since that is the first information that we got, how close, do you know this at this point, how close were the assailants to the Israeli consulate?
As I have mentioned, the Israeli consulate is on the 7th floor of one of those towers, one of those buildings. And there is a security gate at the entrance of the building. This is a place where most of us go, where there are, as I mentioned, there are other media outlets in those places. That's why we know the area. And there's a security cabin in front of the building, and there's a busy road in front of it. As per the eyewitness statement to me on the phone, they came very close because they were able to fire, open a fire towards the security in front of the building. Apparently, if they were able to, by the way, they have a very tight security in those kinds of buildings. With those guns, would it be possible for them to get inside the building and go up on that floor where the Israeli consulate is located? It doesn't seem logical, but
It's an attempt. It's a show that we can come close to you. This is a place you can reach to that building. It's no problem. But would they be able to go up? As I said, maybe they were planning to take some civilians as a hostage. We have no idea about what their exact plan was there. But the plan might have been something just that would stop here. 3 people going out there, opening a fire, and they would definitely be killed by the police and security.
because of the embassy, by the way, there is a tight security. There is always police around the area, and there are other consulate buildings, residences in the area close to that tower where Israel consulate is located. So the area is tightly controlled by the police in general, every day.
Okay, this is interesting information, Sinem. You're saying the area is an area that has tight security on it, just as part of the normal security posture in that area, because there are many businesses, banks, and consulates from multiple countries, as you've explained. Since you know that particular building, you explained to us that there are media outlets and news agencies within that building, and therefore you are used to going at that exact spot. How would you describe the security around that building specifically?
Normally, you go through, when you enter the building, you give your ID card, you go through the X-ray, you go through security to go up on the for the other floors. And there is always a police car in that street, and these are the security measures that are visible. Definitely, when you have a diplomatic mission in an area, as a host country, you have security measures that are visible to the civilians and that are invisible to the others. I'm sure intelligence must also have other measures besides the police, besides the security measures that can be seen. But as I said, since I haven't reached to the place, I don't know whether they had some extra security measures due to the latest tension between Israel, Iran, and United States. But the area, since Israeli consulate is located there, is sometimes seen to angry Turkish people protesting against the Israeli aggression attacks and war crimes committed against the Palestinians in Gaza. And there are usually protests over there, but we haven't witnessed anything like this before in the area.
Sinem, stay with us because I do want to show our viewers pictures that we got a short while ago. This is what we could see a few moments ago. So this shows us that there were people on the ground that were surrounded by security forces. There are people who were injured. Now, remember Sinem's reporting from just a little while ago. She was telling us that 3 people opened fire. and that they were then retaliated against, or rather I should say that security forces around the building then opened fire at them. And the word that was used by Turkish security forces is that they were neutralized. So we understand that those 3 people have been killed. Those are the pictures that we are getting in. Sinem, you said something that I think is important context here. There's security, there's visible security around that building and in the area generally, because there are several diplomatic missions in those buildings. And you mentioned, this is of course very true, that anytime you have significant diplomatic presence in a major city or elsewhere, you're also going to have a more discreet security presence. So I'm just bringing that to our viewers. There will be either plainclothes police officers or there will be people on the lookout that won't be obviously labeled as members of the security force or members of police to civilians and bystanders. But there is another layer that is less visible, as Sinem was reporting, another layer of security typically around diplomatic buildings or diplomatic missions. Sinem, tell us, you were reporting a little while ago that there were no diplomats. There are no Israeli diplomats at the Israeli consulate or at the Israeli embassy. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, this is what the Israeli embassy press people just informed us about as soon as the attack happened. They said we have no information yet, but we have to underline that there is no Israeli diplomat neither in Istanbul General Consulate nor in the Ankara embassy, from which we can presume that the staff that is working right now are the local staff. But I have to correct one thing about what you have mentioned.
Please go ahead.
Yes, we have the Israeli Istanbul consulate in that tower, in that building. As I mentioned, as you go further from those towers, there's a residential area where you have 1-story, 2-story, 3-story buildings, which are mostly like villas, and among them there are many diplomatic missions belonging to the foreign countries that have representation across Turkey. So that's
Sinem, are you saying that many diplomatic missions in the same building or in the general area?
No, in the area, in the very close by area, not in the building. This is what I wanted to correct about what I have been reporting to, avoid any misunderstanding. But having Israeli consulate in that building is, of course, very important because of Israeli policies. Turks have been, as I said, protesting against them in front of that tower for the last 3 years after the war in Gaza started. But we haven't seen any attack like this in that area targeting the Israeli consulate. And of course, from a journalistic perspective, you are not directly targeting the diplomatic mission in that building. You are probably giving a message. I'm just speculating about the situation for now because I don't have much solid data to report, but this is a building with full of maybe at least 100 companies with thousands of employees, and it is almost impossible for you to reach to the consulate office, which is on the 7th floor or something. So we are not sure whether the attack had any other mission to show, any other message to deliver, or whether what the clear message from this attack was, what kind of motivation they had. We have no information. We don't have any information about which group, whether they are linked to any terrorist group or not.
Yeah, Sinem, that is all vital reporting at this point. We're saying what we know, and we're also being very clear about what we don't know. It's 10:20 GMT, so it is 1:20 local time in Istanbul in Turkey. That was Sinem Koseoglu, who is getting to the scene of the attack, which she has told us this is a very busy business, diplomatic, financial, and commercial neighborhood in Istanbul. And about an hour ago, shots rang out. 3 people opened fire. Police opened fire back, responded. And now the Istanbul governor says that 2 policemen were lightly wounded in that firefight. One of the attackers was killed. 2 were injured at the scene of the incident. The governor of Istanbul also says that they used rifles and guns to carry out attack at the Israeli consulate. So this is information coming from the Istanbul governor. And they're also saying that they're working to identify the attackers near the Israeli consulate in Istanbul. They don't have that information. Sinem was also reporting that we don't know who they are. We don't know yet why they attempted this attack. But what we do know, again, coming from the governor, is that 2 policemen were lightly wounded in the firefight, that one of the assailants was killed and 2 were injured at the scene.